So JC, I've known you for 10 plus years now, and I've always wanted to ask you, you were a college baseball player.
Barely.
Can you think back to your college baseball days and the things that you learned competing at a college level? Were there things that you took from that experience that have now translated over into how you trade, how you manage money, how you are an analyst, any lessons that translate from that experience?
You know, I think about this a lot because I find such value in hiring former athletes. You know, I was talking with John and Jerry about that recently, actually. You know, first of all, it's the work ethic. You know, no matter, you're working your ass off and you're just used to it. You don't know any better. You're always, you know,
That's right,
and there's nothing, no matter how bad your day is now that we're adults and like work and stuff like that, we can have the worst day ever, but running suicides on a Sunday morning at 6 o'clock a.m. in the snow, and I'm from Miami.
Oh, man.
You know what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing on earth that will be worse than that. So like, that is just, so it gives you mental toughness, is my point, right? So I think that's a huge advantage. I think being prepared, right? Like we were talking earlier, you and I, like I was a shortstop growing up as a kid, right? In college I pitched and all that, but as a kid I was always a shortstop. So you have to not only know what you're gonna do with the ball if it gets hit to you, you have to know what everybody else has to do, and you have to tell them. Be like, yo, pitcher, if it's hit to you, you and me turning two because there's a guy on first or whatever it is, you know, like I'm the cutoff man on a play at home, you know, whatever. You have to tell everybody, so you have to be prepared. So if the ball's hit to you, you know exactly what you're going to do because you thought about it prior. So in the markets, you have to be prepared for any situation. So it's not, I get calls all the time, JC, man, this market is crazy. What's so crazy about it? Oh, it's going up and down, as opposed to, you know.
That's what it does.
It just, but this stock was supposed to do that and it didn't. It's like, well, yeah, welcome to my world. So, you know, I think it's being prepared for sure. And then I think probably, I don't know about it's the most important, but probably I think it's just learning how to lose. You know, and if you don't take losses in the market and just admit you're wrong, you're never gonna make any money, right? You're always gonna be like, yeah, this stock is ultimately come back. No, it's a zero. Deal with it and move on. I think the fact that if you fail 70% of the time on the baseball field, you go to the Hall of Fame.
That's crazy. When you think of it that way, it's crazy.
It's insane,
yeah.
Right? If you're career batter 300, you're in the Hall of Fame. So that means you're failing 70% of the time. So you just have to learn to lose and accept the fact that you're not gonna hit a grand slam at every at bat, right? You're gonna strike out, you can hit a line drive as hard as possible straight at the left fielder, it's still an out, it's as good as a strikeout.
Right.
So you just have to deal with it, and you know that you gotta go play some defense, and maybe in a couple innings you get another at bat, and then hit your home run. But guess what? You probably won't, and you're probably gonna strike out, or pop up, or ground into a double play, and that's just baseball. So I think, you know, those are probably the three biggest advantages. You yourself, I mean, you grew up your whole life, you know, loving sports, everything like that. What'd you learn?
Well, I played hockey and volleyball when I was in college. I played on the volleyball team only because we didn't have any good volleyball players. We were all terrible. And then I played on my hockey team. I was late. I didn't learn to skate until I was like 10 years old. So I was way behind the curve. And I grew up in the Northeast in Buffalo, New York, where everyone grows up skating. They're like, we're practically Canadian, right? And so I played right bench on my high school hockey team. But I'll tell you, man, much like what you said, the practices were grueling. It was all about repetition. It was all about doing, okay, you did it great. Okay, do it again. And then do it again and do it again, because you're trying to learn that muscle memory about different things. Whether it's skating or stick handling or shooting or checking, whatever it was, you had to do it over and over again and make it muscle memory so you could do it without even thinking about it. And that's what we do as traders as well, right? I mean, if we're doing it right, it should be boring, because it's like, we're not overthinking it. It's just like we're doing things over and over that these best practices that we've honed. Yeah. So
what is the best trade sitting on your hands?
Sometimes.
The best trade is forgetting that you had an account at that firm?
Yeah. Well, before we get too far down the road on me, we got to finish up your baseball story because I know everybody wants to know. How did your glorious college baseball career come to an end?
My glorious, it was a combination of things. You know, I wanted to be on the starting rotation because if you're on the starting rotation in college, that means I know for a fact that I'm pitching every Saturday morning, or I'm pitching every Sunday morning, because that's the way you play the conference games on the weekends, and during the week you play your non-conference schedule, right? So if you're on the starting 3, you know you pitch every Saturday, or you're the Sunday guy, because always doubleheader Saturdays, and then a third game on Sunday, right? Wow. That's just the way it is. So you can have a life, right? You can, obviously you're a senior in college, so you want to party, but more importantly than that, like there's internships. Everyone's getting internships. Like I went to Fairfield University just outside of New York, so like all my friends are working at Deloitte & Touche and Ernst & Young because they have a good accounting program, but like Goldman, Merrill, everybody, right?
Right.
So you had to make a decision. Like I knew I wasn't going pro. My hardest fastball was 84 miles an hour. Like I didn't get any calls, right? You know, I made
leaguers that throw 84. Come on.
Listen, I was a very, very poor man's Greg Maddux,
I was just
right?
gonna say Greg Maddux never threw more than.
I know, and then when I say you're homeless, but my point is I had to make a living on the junk, right? You know, curveballs and changes, and you know, keeping the batters off balance. You know, I'll come in there 5 curveballs straight. You know, these hitters are like, throw me a fastball, you know, and I just wouldn't. So anyway, so I wasn't on the starting rotation. I was a middle reliever. So as a middle reliever, you have to be ready to pitch 5 days a week.
Yeah.
Okay.
You gotta be ready all
you
the
always
time.
have to be ready because you're a middle reliever. You could pitch twice in a week, whatever it is. So as soon as I wasn't, you know, junior year, I was either going to be on the rotation or I was not. So there was no real point. So then instead I got an internship in Merrill Lynch, and the rest is history.
Well, dude, I learned a lot about you today. Thanks for sharing, man.
Yeah, no problem, dude.